Hi guys, and today we're going to go through the configurator online on Volkswagen website. We've had quite a lot of questions of people asking us why did we choose what we chose in terms of speccing our van, so we thought this was probably a reasonable way of doing it. So you'll see us just in the corner having a bit of a chat about it, and Will's going to sort of share the screen to go through it. So I hope you find it interesting, and feel free to disagree or agree with us as you please.
Yeah, so let's start by having a look at the Volkswagen Vans website. We're going to go through a configurator. We're basically going to configure our van and try to explain why we picked some options and why we didn't pick other options. And we really understand up front everyone's circumstances are different. You know, it might be about cost, it might be about children, it might be about activities. There could be loads of different reasons that you pick the options you pick. So we're not saying these are the right options, the wrong options. We're just going to explain why we chose the options we did and why we didn't choose the ones that we didn't. So, right, let's get on with it. So California 6.1 configure. California Ocean, that's what we've got. Why did we buy an Ocean, not a Coast?
I think we just really like to have all of the stuff that came with an Ocean, especially now they'd added in quite a lot of the things that we spec'd on our T6 actually into the 6.1 Ocean.
Because in the T6 there wasn't a Coast, was there? So they only introduced that for the 6.1. So we were used to the Ocean with all the bits and bobs and stuff, weren't we? And we were used to the electric roof and we had LED headlights on our T6, and they come as standard now on an Ocean. So it made sense, didn't it, to just go for the Ocean? Okay. Yeah. Right. So what are we starting with? Engine.
Yeah. Right.
Continue. So 3 engine options, or 2 engine options, one with 4-wheel drive, one without. So there's a 150 automatic, so DSG, automatic gearbox, 7-speed, 150 2-wheel drive. There's a same again, so a automatic 204. It's gone through various iterations of being a 199 204, 199 204, currently a 204 diesel, 2-wheel drive, both of those front-wheel drive. And then there is the 204 4Motion. We've got the 204 4Motion, not because it's the most expensive, but because
well, we did have a T6 2-wheel drive. We went with the 204. We hired in the end of 2017 a 150 that was a manual.
Yeah, they did.
Still get a manual back then.
They did 6-speed manuals back then, didn't they?
Yeah. So we hired that for, was it 3 nights? I think we went away, didn't we, up to North Yorkshire.
We'll do a video on that soon, by the way.
Yeah, and we really, really enjoyed it. But we were used to driving very fast cars at the time, and it just felt to us a little bit slow. And I know there's arguments for, it's a leisure vehicle, you shouldn't be rushing or anything like that, but it just felt like too much of a change.
It was a big difference, wasn't it?
And we were really lucky actually. The chap who we bought ours off up in Yorkshire had a 204 at the time that we were able to go and test drive. So we test drove that as well.
What we wanted.
So yeah, that was that. This time we decided to go for when we went for a DSG last time, because it was when you still could choose a manual as well. And some lucky people or unlucky people, depending on how they think about it, back in 2018, Volkswagen stopped manufacturing the manuals.
Yeah, they ordered a manual.
Yeah.
And then got delivered a DSG for free, didn't they?
Yeah.
All because of emissions.
Yeah.
Basically.
So that was about February, March, April time of 2018, something like that. So you can't get a manual anymore. So we then decided this time to go for the 4Motion, basically because we love the 204, but we go down to Cornwall an awful lot, and the 204 2-wheel drive in the T6 had some real issues with traction, trying to actually get the thing moving when you're on a bit of a steep slope, especially when you've got a bit of sand around, or water, sort of raining, trying to get onto roundabouts. It was
junctions which go up and round.
Yeah, are really quite snatchy on the gearbox.
Yeah.
And we always, I think, sat there and kept thinking, why didn't we have the 4Motion?
Yeah, this would be so much easier. And we'd had 4-wheel drive cars before that as well, where we just had no issues whatsoever. And I know this weighs nearly 3 tons. You know, this is not a lightweight vehicle, but trying to get that moving up one of those hills, which is kind of up and round out of a junction with fast flowing traffic in the rain, it always felt a little bit tricky. So that's why we've gone for formation. However, the gearbox seems so much better in the 6.1 than it was in the 6. So I actually think the 204 two-wheel drive would be a lot easier to pull out of those kind of junctions than the T6 that we had before.
It seems a lot more manageable. Even just trying to get it onto ramps at a campsite, just that ability to really gently apply some gas and get it moving nice and slowly seems a lot less snatchy to do.
Very long-winded way of saying why we've got what we've got. Anyway,
but there we go.
That's the reason. Right, so I've selected that on here. So paint, really personal preference. So it's up to you what you like. Some people absolutely must have the two-tone because that sort of makes it a camper for them. I get that. We had reflex silver metallic before on our old van. We saw one before we ordered ours, loved it, ordered it, we're happy with it. We've gone for indium grey this time. Apparently it's got the best resale value of all the colours. Didn't buy it for that reason. We bought it because we've had grey cars with red accents on before, whether it's like brake calipers or bits of trim and all that kind of stuff. And we really like that kind of grey and red combo. Now we know that the indium grey doesn't have any red on it when you look at it on the picture here. However, as you'll see in a second in the options, that's why we went for the strawberry red bellows, and everybody's seen that in all the pictures of our videos so far. So that's our selection in terms of colour. Right, interior, this drives me crazy. This configurator, when you do this, says you've got one interior available and it's palladium, which is basically cloth, as you can see. That's not true, because when you go through the configurator later, there's something called art velours, which is exactly what we've got in here.
You can't see any of it because we just cover it up. It's
basically what looks like leather and suede, in reality is PVC and some kind of fake suede. That sounds horrible. However, it's so much more practical. We'll come on to that when we do the options. So there is a second interior option on here, not just the one here. So you have to basically just say yes to whatever it's saying here and go through. Wheels, again, really personal preference. You get 3 options for free on the Ocean. The Woodstock ones, the Devonport ones, and the Arcadu. Those ones, the third ones. We didn't like those because we saw them on a van and just thought they're not really for us. We had the Devonports on our van before. Absolutely fine, no issues with those. They're not diamond cut, by the way, which some might see as an advantage. And we just wanted a change, so we chose the Woodstocks. Now, interestingly, the 18s, we had a combi lent to us for a little while, and that had 18-inch Sportline wheels on. Admittedly, it did have 275 tyres on. They were massive, really wide tyres on that, and it was so hard. We just couldn't stand it, could we? And that was in a combi. Noisy. Fuel economy was shocking as well. Bearing in mind it was only a 150 DSG. So this time we thought, just for a bit of a change, we'll have the Woodstocks. Ask us in 3 years' time whether they were the right choice or not. They are diamond cut. It does bother me a little bit, but we have got some winter wheels, which again, in a month or two, you'll see a video on all of that stuff. Because they're steel wheels with winter tyres on. So these won't be on the van all year round, so hopefully we can make them last, can't we? But again, really personal preference, up to you guys. Did I even select that?
I don't think we did, no.
Don't think I selected it. Anyway, this is the big option list, and trust me, this is not as big as it used to be.
It was an absolute nightmare on the T6.
I think our T6 had something like 16 options on it. It was crazy.
And the amount of interrelated bits and pieces that if you ticked that, something else came off or something else went on, and it was really complicated.
So let's whiz down these then. So inlays. So these inlays that they talk about here are the ones in the dashboard. As standard, you get kind of like this sort of honeycomb style grey effect in a kind of silvery finish. These bright brushed grey is exactly what it says. Well, it's actually bright brushed silver. We saw a van with it on. I thought, I'm not really sure whether I like it or not, so we just went with the standard. It's a no-cost option to have these, so just I'll try and find some pictures to overlay so you can see the difference between the two. All of this stuff is all standard on the Ocean. Obviously, you get swivel seats in the front and all of that sort of stuff.
Just go back up, Will. Was that without special seat adjustment? Was that the ability previously to be able to stop the seats turning round, or was that something else?
Don't know. Don't know, because
Okay.
on the T6 you could order front seats which didn't swivel but had electric adjustment and a four-way lumbar support and all that kind of. I think they were called comfort seats or something.
Something like that.
And I just don't think they do those anymore, because who would have one of these and not swivel the front seats down? I
Yeah, a bit odd.
just don't understand. Anyway, so
round
wheels and
2 on
tyres.
wheels and
Oh, here we go. I
tyres.
can select them on here. Look,
Ah, okay.
Woodstocks. Right. Let's just take those. Okay. All season tyres, that's a bit of a standing joke with us because we did order those from the factory. We had them on our van before, ordered those from the factory. This van turned up without them. Didn't tell us. The van just arrived. Dealer didn't even notice. And that's, Mohammed, you sorted it all out for us in terms of getting a refund and everything else. So that's I'm not having to go at the dealer. But, Volkswagen centrally, no real explanation as to why not, apart from emissions or vehicle weight or testing or something.
Or you're just not having it.
Or you're just not having it, basically. So anyway, we did order all season tyres. We had them on the old one, Goodyear Vector 4 seasons, I think, something like that.
They were great.
Brilliant. Actually felt a lot nicer in terms of ride quality as well compared to these tyres. Because as standard, the 17s come with 215 65 tyres rather than 235 55s, and that might not sound like a lot. However, the 235 tyres run about 10 psi less than the 215 tyres, so these have got something like 50 psi in, whereas the 235 tyres are meant to have about 40. And you can really tell, actually, really tell. So I think at some point in the future we might end up putting some 235 tyres on. The only thing I'd say though, these 215 tyres, because they're Continental Van Contacts or something. They're
Van
obviously
Eco, I think.
Van Eco. They're obviously built for efficiency, because this van is very economical compared to our old T6 two-wheel drive. So we were expecting the MPG to go down,
Kind of sub 30.
and it's gone up.
Yeah.
So I'm really surprised, and I'm sure it's probably down to the tyres.
And it does it rides better now than it did when we first picked it up, with that bit of actual weight in it of all of our stuff. It did make quite a bit of a difference, didn't it?
So let's carry on then. So suspension range 13, I've got no idea what that one is. That's only arrived on the model year 22s, because that wasn't on the list when we bought ours, so I can't help you with that one, I'm afraid. No, don't need any of that. Alloy wheel for the original spare. We didn't bother with that. We just have the normal spare wheel which it comes with. What we have bought for the spare wheel is a special lock, because if you don't, it's literally 2 little bolts underneath which you can undo and the whole spare wheel comes off. People do nick them. That little clamp thing seems to be a really good, really good
Does
lock.
what it says on the tin.
Yeah. So navigation system, Discover Media Pro. We didn't buy the Pro navigation because it was 690 quid more. We tried both before we ordered ours, but we found that the standard nav is okay. You get a bit more with the Pro. It's a slightly bigger screen. I don't think it really gave you much more in terms of functionality though. The one thing which it does do, which I was disappointed we didn't get with this, was you can have the map on the screen of the virtual cockpit. So where you've got the dials and the speedo and everything else, in between the dials you can have the map at the same time as you can have it on the sat nav screen. With the normal nav you get in the Ocean, you can't do that. You have it either one or the other. But that's the only really big difference.
It's not the end of the world, really, is it?
No. So that's all that. Digital cockpit and driver alert system. So digital cockpit you get in the Ocean anyway. Driver alert system. You see, I think this might be included now anyway, because there's no price for it here. Again, we've had this in other cars before. It just tells you to take a tea break and things. To be honest, at 2 or 3 hours, we're ready to nip to the toilet anyway, aren't we? So it doesn't really matter to us. Storage net in the roof bed. Second drawer in the bench seat. Right, so storage net in the roof bed. If you open the roof on a California, you'll see 4 little hooks in the roof. And in fact, you will have seen me use them in the Isotop video, actually at the very front. And that net goes between those. So it's actually in the roof of the of the top. It's nothing to do with the bottom, the child safety net or anything, because you do get that in standard. And the second drawer in the bench seat, underneath the bench seat, or next to the big bench seat, there's a plastic cover on one end next to the kitchen,
just
down there, and you can take that off if you've got long things to load in the van. So if you're going to pick up some pipe or, I don't know, something long, you can take that off. Instead of being able to do that, you can have another drawer, I don't know. It's about that
wide,
big, and
something like that, quite deep.
that long, isn't it? Yeah. We hummed and hawed about it. We didn't have it on the T6. We've never really had a storage problem in here, have we? There's only the two of us and the dog, so we thought we'll leave it.
Yeah. What we did used to do though is stuff the ramps for the van from the boot into
Levelling
that
ramps.
kind of area.
Yeah.
And it became a right pain in the backside because it gets caught with the table when you're trying to move it in and out, and you're trying to push the ramps back, so then the ramps fall over a bit, and it's like, oh, no, we're just not doing it anymore at all.
Yeah. So
it is a bit of dead space.
So that's
up to you. Yeah.
It is what it is. Driver assistant package here. So you get adaptive cruise anyway. You get an auto dimming rear view mirror anyway. This is all on the Ocean, obviously. You get forward collision warning. You get multifunction steering wheel, automatic headlights. You get windscreen wiper. You get wing mirrors, adjustable folding. Yes, you get all of that. You don't get high beam control as standard, so that's automatic full beam. You don't get traffic sign recognition as standard, and you don't get lane change assist and lane keeping. You get blind spot monitoring in the wing mirrors, so that's the little lights in the wing mirrors which come on as somebody drives past you. You do get those as standard, but you don't get lane assist, traffic control or high beam. So out of all of those, the only ones that we were really interested in was having high beam control. We're quite used to having automatic full beam on cars, and it's just a nice thing to have. And you can buy these things individually. So we didn't buy that driver assistance package, but we did buy high beam control. I'll switch that on there. Yeah. These descriptions are great, aren't they? Without socket in front with flashlight. So for anyone who wonders what that is, it's a £90 rechargeable torch in its own little special holder and everything, and it's in the bottom of the driver's seat. So in the base of the driver's seat, there's a big piece of plastic, and they inset a little kind of charging dock, which they put you a rechargeable torch in. We did have this in our T6, and we used it 3 or 4 times, maybe, if that. But we always carry our phones with us. They've got a torch on.
Yeah, it just felt like an extravagant £90.
Yeah. We saved the 90 quid. But some people like it because it's always there. It's always charged.
It just felt like an extravagant £90.
And it wasn't very bright either. It was LED though. Hill start assist and hill descent control. So you do have hill start assist as standard. You don't have hill descent control. We didn't buy our 4Motion to go off-roading and kind of properly off-grid and all of that kind of stuff. Otherwise, we probably would have bought this. We've got it on our Discovery, and I haven't used it on the Discovery, let alone in a camper yet. Let alone in a camper. So we didn't buy hill descent control, but some people might want it. Traffic sign recognition. On the sat-nav, you do get speed limits on the sat-nav, but it's reading them from the map data, not from a camera or anything like that. So if you go through a speed section on the motorway, or temporary speed limits anywhere, or the map data's out of date, the traffic, the speed limit stuff will be out of date too. So it's a nice to have. Is it worth £288? Not to us. Not to us. Trailer assist. So this helps you park a trailer. So if you've got a tow bar and you want help parking with the trailer, this obviously will help you with that. We've bought the tow bar, we'll come on to that, but we didn't buy trailer assist because we tend to use the tow bar in this to carry bikes on a bike rack. So again, not really worth it for us. Sport styling pack. This is 18-inch wheels, different side skirts in black, front and rear little valances. Black wing mirrors, I think it is, darkened rear lights. Looks really nice. We couldn't justify the cost of this. Some people, it'll be a no-brainer because of how it makes the van look. We just couldn't justify it. And it had the 18-inch wheels, which actually ride-wise, we love the look of them. Ride-wise, I don't think we really wanted them, so it wasn't really for us. Style package, bit of chrome trim on the sides. I think the wheels are slightly different, but I think they're still 17s from memory.
Is that the one that does the pillars in black as well? Is that style?
Oh no,
package?
it doesn't have wheels. I think
something else?
I think the sport one has the black bits.
Okay.
On the sides, yeah, it does.
On the A pillar.
Yeah.
Or not the A
The
pillar,
B
B pillar.
pillars, yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
So again, we didn't have the style package on ours. Power sliding door. So obviously this side door here.
You fancied that?
Oh, I fancied this.
You really did.
I did.
We hired a van, or we were given one to borrow for a while. Combi, wasn't it? That had it, and he was
It
like,
had two electric
amazing.
sliders and an electric tailgate, and you can't get an electric tailgate on a California because it's too heavy. But the side doors were electric, and you get a button on the key and everything. It's lovely, and on the dash. But they beep, and it's a safety thing. I understand that. But if you're on a campsite and it's 10 o'clock at night and you want to get out, you can't have your door beeping and stuff. It's just not. It's not really loud, but I think it would just annoy us, wouldn't it?
I mean, it's always a thing, isn't it, that somebody parks next to a VW van and it's the swoosh bang. I mean, I've seen car stickers and all sorts that have got that on it. It's hilarious. And on the T6, it had a ning, quite noisy thing as it pulled it in. And on this, it's got a slightly quieter one. It's a really quiet. But yeah, then to interrupt it with a beep, 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 no.
So we didn't order it, and other people sometimes have complained that things can go wrong with it and things. So we just thought, let's keep it simple. It'll do for us. It's what we had on the T6 as well. Driving profile selection. So this is adaptive dampers. We have had cars with adaptive dampers. I don't know.
Nice.
It's nice. I'd have been much more interested if they'd done air suspension. So adaptive dampers feels, yeah, I'm sure it's very nice. I haven't driven one with them, but air suspension is a whole different ball game. You know, things like VB air suspension, which is Volkswagen warranty friendly, has auto leveling and things. You know, and our Discovery 3 has got our Land Rover Discovery 3's got air suspension, and it transforms the ride on a heavy vehicle. However, it's not an option on their normal list. So we didn't bother with.
It does the funky
DCC.
levelling, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So you get on a campsite, whether you're on a... Done.
So anyway, if you have got that out there, you're very lucky, and we're very jealous. But we haven't got those few thousand spare to go and sort that out. Right, wooden floor with plastic lining. It really sells it, doesn't it? The plastic lining as well.
Well, the same as we sold the Art Velours plastic leather. Basically, yeah.
Anyway, standard floor in a California. It's slightly rubberized. It's very textured.
Bit bouncy. It's got these kind of squares that give it a bit of grip, but it's also a sort of grainy as well. And this was the one thing I think on our T6 that I really wish we'd just pushed the boat out and done, other than the 4Motion thing.
Yeah.
Because when you're down on your hands and knees scrubbing that floor, and literally it has to be scrubbed with a brush.
It's terrible.
You can't just wipe it over or anything like that. It is just scrubbing it to get dirt out of it. And when you think you're in a camper van, you've got a dog, on a campsite with grass pitches, it gets dirty.
Bad.
And it was
bad.
In the T6 it was light grey. In this it's probably a darker grey. But to me it was a no, not doing it.
So dog, scrubbing in the past. Probably scrubbing in the future. No.
So
wooden
push the
floor.
boat out. Wooden floor.
There's not really a texture on it. It feels more solid underfoot, and you can brush it out. You can just run some wet wipes over it or a normal floor mop or whatever, and it's done.
Much easier.
And it runs all the way from just behind the driver's seats or driving passenger seat all the way to the tailgate, all the way through.
It still sounds horrifically expensive.
I'm trying not to look at the right-hand side of this screen.
But I'm so happy.
Yeah, it's really nice.
That.
And we've covered it up with carpet, obviously, so you can't see it.
Yeah.
That's normal. Tow bar, a couple of options on tow bar. You can either have the tow bar prep, which is basically wiring and everything ready to go, leaves a couple of sockets there. So if you wanted a tow bar in the future, they can bolt one on and then just plug the loom in, kind of a halfway house. Or you can just have the tow bar, and it's a removable tow bar, stores very neatly if you don't want to leave it on the van in the little box at the back of the the bench seats. It's fine, isn't it? We did buy this because of the bike rack that we've got, which again we're going to do a video on bikes and taking your bikes with you on your camper, so you can see the different options. Some of our friends have got one of the tailgate mounted racks. We've got a fold-up rack which goes on the tow bar, so hopefully that'll be interesting. But that's why we chose the tow bar. Some people choose to have this fitted afterwards, including all the wiring and everything if you wanted to. So
it's just a big job, isn't
there are
it?
other options. Yeah, it's just easy when you're buying the van new. You can obviously order it. Chrome package. We wanted to go for a slightly stealthy look with the van, so we didn't go for chrome. You do get quite a lot of chrome on the grille and everything on the Ocean anyway. This adds chrome down the sides and on the back, on the tailgate and things. Wasn't really for us in terms of style. It's a bit like wheels and colour and stuff. It just depends what style you're going for. First aid kit with warning trial and safety vest. So we didn't order this, and we still got a warning triangle included. That's got a place in the driver's door pocket. First aid kit and safety vest, is that worth £66 to us?
Well, we've got a few safety vests left over from other various bits and bobs, haven't we? And a first aid kit. Well, I need to touch some wood. Not had to use one yet, and they tend to come with massive bandages. I mean, it's expecting you to come across some kind of horrific car crash scene or something like that and lose a limb.
Yeah. Tourniquets.
Yeah.
Like the full Monty.
Yeah. Which, yes, you possibly should be keeping stuff like that in your van, but I tend to put one together for us.
We've got a small first aid kit we carry with us, haven't we? So
plasters and Germaline and.
That's enough on first aid kits.
Yeah.
Touch some more wood. Where's the floor? Right, heated windscreen. So this is an option which has got the little tiny wires in the windscreen, because Volkswagen did go through a stage of not having the ones with wires. They had like a blue film and or a kind of violety coloured film. It was a bit weird. But this is what I would call a proper heated windscreen. So it's got the little bars in. We didn't have this on the T6. We have got it on this. And the reason we've got it on this isn't necessarily for the melting ice in the winter. It's for if we have been camping when it's raining and we've had our windscreen cover on, it's not misted up inside or anything like that, and we've gone outside and it's cold, we've left the door open while we're just sorting out the outside of the van and everything ready to go off the campsite. We get back in, shut the door, and you get that immediate across the windscreen of just a bit of mist, which then you have to sit there with the engine on, basically with the heater on, fairly cold, because the engine's cold, blowing on the windscreen, and you can't go anywhere unless you then just kind of wipe the windscreen.
And then you make a right mess, don't you?
So we thought, this sounds really awful, isn't it? It's 500 quid worth just to get rid of that small,
I don't think you told me how much
first world problem.
I think this was he can't have the automatic sliding door, so he's going to have the heated front windscreen instead. I think there was one or two things there.
Something like that. So anyway, we bought the heated windscreen, and we've used it once already, and it makes it somewhat better. I wouldn't say it was click clear. It was click. Come on.
A bit of elevator music.
And then it's clear.
Yeah.
So definitely better than it was.
Yeah.
But we did have.
And it will be good in winter.
Yeah.
Because being the size I am, I can't reach the windscreen to start scraping it, and I end up with a scraper on the end of a massive long stick and look really stupid.
So what else we got on here? Sliding window in front and fixed window in rear on driver's side. So as far as I know, you get sliding windows on both sides of the van. I don't really know what this option would give you, because we didn't tick this, and we've got two sliding windows. I think this might be if you don't want a sliding window on the driver's side, because we have seen an Ocean with that, haven't we?
We did,
Once.
yeah. When we were looking around before we ordered this, it was a T6.1, and it was really bizarre because it had a window that you could open on the kitchen side, and then it didn't on the other side on that door. It was just a piece of glass, which is nice to look out of, because you just have much more of a panoramic view, but nowhere near as useful.
Okay, so roof colour, as standard you get grey. I'm sure you've all seen the pictures of a normal Ocean canvas, and on the Ocean you also get the kind of zip out front bit. I think they call it the panoramic roof or whatever it is. There's two other options, glacier blue or strawberry red. Glacier blue is a really dark blue. You've probably seen pictures. I think there's a picture in the brochure of Cali with it.
More of a navy in my mind, isn't it? Almost the same kind
Yeah,
of
it's
colour
quite
as your
dark
top
like this,
there,
and
isn't it?
quite dark inside. We have sat inside one with the roof up with a glacier blue, and I'd say it's almost as dark as the grey one inside. The grey is quite dark as well.
It's a different type of canvas than the T6.
Yeah, much darker inside.
Much darker. Feels kind of thicker.
Strawberry red, if any of you have seen our van collection video, have a look up there. You will see me the first time I go into the roof or have the roof up and whether I think it's red or not. So have a look at that video and tell me what you think in the comments below, whether it's too red or not. Before we covered it up with the ice on top and now we can't see it at all unless we're outside. Maybe there's a clue there. Differential lock. So sorry, I should have said, so personal preference. I don't actually think there's any restriction on what colour combinations you can order, because you know sometimes car manufacturers allow you to order
do something really quite nasty then, potentially, couldn't
just
you?
be careful. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why, and I used to be a Porsche owner as well, so I'll say this with a lot of respect to Porsche owners. I have seen some second-hand Porsches for sale with colour combinations which should never have seen the light of day. They should have never have come out
In
the
your
factory.
opinion?
Yeah. Either that
Somebody ordered it.
Either that or the Germans have got a
it.
very funny sense of humour. But I don't think there's any restriction on these. So if you wanted a strawberry red set of bellows on a cherry red van, so red on red, you're allowed to do that.
Yeah.
If you wanted blue on red, you can do that.
Yeah. Seeing that mint green kind of colour they
With
do
red.
with red. Ooh, that would be brave, wouldn't it?
Yeah. It doesn't show you on the configurator a picture with the pop top up.
No.
Maybe that's why. Differential lock. So this locks the rear differential. It's, from what I've read, we didn't pick this, but from what I've read, a lot of people pick this if they're going to go off grid or they're going to go into kind of slippery areas, so mud and fields and all those kind of things on a regular basis, because it helps them with a bit more traction at the back. Again, it's personal preference. It depends how you're using your van and things, so up to you. We didn't pick it on this. Cupboards in graphite grey with outdoor shower connection. You'll have probably have seen our shower video. Yeah, we use this for washing the dog's feet off, washing shoes off, that kind of stuff. We've bought a horrifically expensive pocket from Brandrup to be able to put the shower head in, because it makes it easier to use, or more accessible.
It did feel like a no-brainer. I
Felt
think
like a no-brainer.
when we bought
and we
it
had
on,
it on the T6.
Well, when we bought it on the T6, it kind of felt a bit, are we being daft here, actually? Are we ever going to use this? And I think we probably used it more often than we even thought that we might use it, to be honest.
Yeah.
So,
interface for external use. That's the hookup. You can't unselect that. It's just what they call it. Bed extension for comfort sleeping, or with comfort sleeping mat. That's the fold-up thing, which you can pull out inside, which makes the bed at the bottom. If you don't order this, you get a normal kind of pad, which
inch or two thick,
still allows you to sleep on the bed without the levels changing. However, having this one, which is the kind of three pieces all sewn together so they fold out, we didn't order this with the van, and then we bought it afterwards from one of our subscribers, actually. Thank you very much. And the reason we bought it afterwards wasn't because we wanted to sleep on it particularly. It's because in the 6.1, when you've got the bed out and you've tilted the back up, so you're using it a bit like a chaise, we suddenly realised it would be much more comfortable to be able to sit on something like that. And it's just quite convenient to have it there and be able to do that. So that's why we use it. A lot of people buy this as just part of the spec, because it's, you know, it does give you that little bit of mattress downstairs if you want it. As I'm sure you've seen, we've done a video on the Cedar Summit self-inflating mattress, which is what we tend to use anyway. So I'm going to tick that because we bought it afterwards, but it was kind of in our spec.
Yeah.
Right, where have we got to? Interior light concept. That's the lights in the pop top area and that kind of stuff, and under the sink, I think. Yeah, that kind of thing. Because in the T6 originally you didn't get lights in the cupboard, the glass wasn't split on the sink or anything like that. It was it's come along quite a lot over the years of the T6 and the 6.1. Awning housing, you can either have it in black or in silver. Some colours do look better with it in silver, so if you've got a two-tone with the white top half and the coloured bottom half, quite often people buy the silver rail on that because it just kind of blends in a little bit more. But it is another £234. Clearly on the spec that we were looking at, the Indian grey with the kind of silver and black wheels and everything, it was right to have the black awning, so we didn't change that. Direct tyre pressure monitoring, so you do get tyre pressure monitoring as standard on an Ocean anyway, but it measures the rolling resistance of the wheel, or the rolling circumference of the wheels as the vehicle drives along, and it just says that wheel's flat. It doesn't say actually you've got this amount of pressure in each wheel, which is exactly what this one does. So if you've got direct tyre pressure monitoring system, they've got sensors in each of the wheels specifically, which then send to the car, and then you can see on the dash what the pressures are. We weren't fussed about that. We just want to know if we've got a flat tyre or not, or if one's going down. So some people want to have the direct one.
Here's the alternative interior hidden away.
Under SIB. Really obvious. So you can see here that the option which is ticked is seat trim with covers in fabric, art velours, seat centre section with seat bolsters in leather look. They didn't call it plastic, did they?
No.
So what we found with these, they are so durable. So we've had coffee, dog paws,
baked beans,
beans after they've bubbled over from the sink, all manner of stuff, and a baby wipe. Ideally a water wipe, so with nothing on it whatsoever, always gets it up. Even things like new blue jeans, anything like that, we've used water wipes, wiped it straight off, and it's come up like brand new. And that doesn't matter whether it's on the leather look bit or the suede look bit, doesn't matter. They're just amazing.
Brilliant.
So we don't use seat covers in here. If I go mountain biking or whatever, we have got some waterproof seat covers, and I'll probably just chuck it on the driver's seat just to save all the hassle of having to clean it after. But that's about the only time we'd ever put seat covers on. We're thinking about a holiday, 2 weeks in the van, we're not thinking about seat covers. However, if you've got the cloth seats, even opening the door and a bit of rain going on those seats will end up leaving watermarks on them. They're horrendous, aren't they?
Possibly needs just a little bit of caution saying that though, because our only experience of the cloth seats was in a T6, so the much lighter grey.
That's true, yeah.
We were loaned a van whilst we were waiting for our T6 because there were all manner of emission issues going on. So our T6 was built and we couldn't take delivery of it. And they loaned us one of the country's only petrol Californias, I think, at the time. And that had cloth seats. And we went camping. It was wet. It was a bit snowy, I think, I seem to remember at the time. And you did get watermarks all down the driver's seat when you opened the door, and any water splashed onto it. I think we ended up getting a tea bag drizzle onto one when you're making a cup of tea and you've turned the passenger seat around, you tried to put it in the bin.
Yeah, we did.
And we were just, it was filled with horror at how quickly and easily anything marked and how much time you then spent trying to clean it off. So we were really, really happy with the art velours that we had in the T6. So it just again felt a bit like a no-brainer in this, but they have changed the shade of the normal cloth interior now. So it might not mark up anywhere near as badly, but I'd still go for this any day over the cloth, to be honest.
Agreed. So we did buy it.
We did.
4 remote control keys. Again, it's up to you if you want to have extra keys. Some people do because they're worried about losing a key or wanted to give other family members spares and things. We didn't buy this. Even though I do know, obviously, this is a really cheap price to have 2 extra keys. You get 2 as standard. To get 2 extra keys for £126, that is cheap, because I think they're £160, £170 each if you buy them afterwards. But yeah, we didn't buy them.
Why didn't we do that?
We don't need them. Anyway. Mud flaps. Some people buy mud flaps. Again, personal preference really. We don't really like the look of them on the van because they look a bit bolted
they look all
on.
right on the front.
Yeah,
it's the way that they bolt them onto the back. It's like,
we've never really felt as though there's been a big problem with spray and the van being plastered all the time or anything
It's going to
else.
get dirty, isn't it? It's a van.
Yeah, we didn't bother with these. Safe box. If you want to have a safe box, it goes in the bottom of the wardrobe. It's basically a metal frame with a folding metal door on it with a little key which you can open and then put stuff in underneath. It gives you a bit of storage under lock and key. We didn't really think it was particularly
we thought
strong.
About having it, didn't we, on the T6? And I think actually, having lived with a van for a good few years now without it, if somebody's going to break into your van because they think that something's in your van of worthwhile, to be honest, I think I'd just quite like them to take it rather than trash it even further.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
if you want it, some people buy it to put passports in and other valuables and stuff overnight. It's up to you. But we didn't bother buying it for ours. Just looking through the rest of these, B-pillar and body colour. Again, if you've picked an option where you've got the black vinyls on the B-pillars, then you can have them in body colour if you want. Some of these things are just part of the normal build. Edition alloy wheel, I think that's part of the sports pack, I think. Ooh. And there's some confusion over whether you need that as well as the sports pack, or whether the sports pack then gives you that. And so yeah.
Big old.
We didn't do any of that. Light and vision pack you get anyway on the Ocean. I don't know why it's not ticked on here. Lumbar supports you get on the Ocean. Special built-in parts, again, don't know. Tyre mobility kit, you can choose not to have a spare wheel at all, and then they'll give you the tyre goo and the compressor and all that stuff. That's a no-cost option. Different tyres if you've got 18-inch wheels. Z2C, what's that? Okay, so laminated okay, so laminated glass in the front, privacy glass in the rear, and a laminated windshield. This wasn't an option when we bought ours.
It was on the T6.
But on the T6, you could choose to have laminated front windows. And everyone that we spoke to said they were more for security rather than soundproofing. So we didn't buy them on the T6. I didn't realise they'd started doing them again on the spec. So there you go. And that is it. So that is... scroll away from the price. So that is our California as spec'd today, which is the 31st of August 2021, which would be an interesting thing for us to come back to personally and have a look at in a couple of years' time, and we'll say, prices have changed, haven't they? Because every year it seems like the California just goes up and up.
Well,
and
you
up
say year,
and up.
every 6
months or so,
Volkswagen
Volkswagen seem to mess about with the pricing. So anyway, so that's that. As you saw from our collection video, no doubt you'll see that we had to wait.
What was it?
281 days or 280 something days
Yeah,
for our van after placing the order. So it's not a quick process. It is something which takes a lot of time. I hope going through the options list like this for an Ocean has been quite helpful for you. One thing which we did order, which wasn't in that list, is an 80-litre fuel tank, which if you're looking at a non-4Motion, I think you can still have. But
they've taken it off now,
I think it's for weight reasons
Probably.
of the vehicle, they've taken it off the 4Motion. But we were lucky we managed to get it, so I don't know.
Somehow.
Maybe this van's definitely unique anyway, isn't it? It's got us sitting in it. And Reggie, which we'll talk about in another video. So yeah, we hope this video has been really helpful for you. It is complex ordering a California.
But less complex than it was. Yeah.
If you've got any questions or you want any advice or any kind of help with any of the spec or anything else that you might be looking at, more than happy to do that. Drop us either an email or a comment in the video below. And
but I think our main piece of advice, to be honest, would be if you're thinking about it and you've got a reasonable idea of what spec it is that you want, just crack on and get it ordered.
Just do it.
The prices only ever go up.
Yeah.
And the resale is superb. We certainly didn't lose anything at all on our T6, did we? Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Fantastic vehicle, just do it.
Definitely. We hope you like this kind of content. If you do, please like and subscribe. Lots more to come. Lots more to come,
yeah.
we think.
Good thinking.
And we'll see you again soon for some more California time.